We have been blessed with the opportunity of seeing another great year. This means we have another year to work towards our dreams. Now come to think about it, most of these dreams we've had for many years, but we are not even close to achieving them. But we see others like us creating new dreams because they realized the old ones. Could the difference between us be the kind of people around us? Let's find out in today's video. Our topic is people you need to distance yourself from to have a great year. I pray that the eyes of your understanding becomes enlightened as you open your ears to listen to what he has to say to you in this video. Please don't forget to like this page, share also with others to help them grow in the faith. Subscribe to this channel for more wonderful videos like this and turn on the post notification button so you get alerted anytime we post new videos. Thank you. Relationships can be advantageous and mutually beneficial to the parties involved. Relationships are one of the easiest ways to succeed in life, but this also means it can be one of the easiest ways to fail. In this world, we only have two kinds of people who are good for you and people who are bad for you. A person might be wonderful, but they're not just for you. Have you seen two great people get in a relationship that turned out to be horrible? Yes, it can be that way at times. Or we can have people who deliberately want to hurt you and kill your dreams. As Christians, we need to realize that though we need God, we also need people. People are very important. God puts special abilities in each of us and we all depend on one another to survive. Imagine if everyone was a farmer, or a doctor, or a teacher. It would be a very hard world to live in, but our diversity makes us depend on one another. Having people, especially this right kind, is very crucial to our existence because they can make or mar us. We need people, yes, but not every kind. We need to be careful about who we call our friends. Your friends can easily influence you as you influence them, and whoever has a stronger character will usually have more influence. Who are you tagging with? Do they think you're worth it? Do they believe in your dreams? Do they support you? You need to ask yourself these kind of questions and more. It is important to determine the kind of people to keep hanging out with, or the one you need to cut off. But note as you think about your friends that no one is perfect. We're all just trying to be the best we can be. But you can tell if someone really likes you and truly supports you when you think about their attitude towards you and give an honest judgment regarding it. In the Bible, we have a lot of examples on people who helped each other and those who hurt each other. Let's examine some of these good examples. Number 1. Paul's friends. Paul had a lot of friends, even as he did ministry. Needless to say, Paul must have been very friendly. Acts 24 verses 22 to 23 says, Then Felix, who was well acquainted with the way, adjourned the proceedings. When Lysias the commander comes, he said, I will decide your case. He ordered the centurion to keep Paul under guard, but to give him some freedom and permit his friends to take care of his needs. Paul was in prison, yet he had friends. They didn't run away from him. They stayed and attended to his needs. Acts 27 verse 3 also says, When it was decided that we would sail for Italy, Paul and some other prisoners were handed over to a centurion named Julius, who belonged to the imperial regiment. We boarded a ship from Atramidium, about to sail for ports along the coast of the province of Asia, and we put out to sea. Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica, was with us. The next day we landed at Sidon, and Julius, in kindness to Paul, allowed him to go to his friends so they might provide for his needs. Here Paul was on his way as a prisoner to Rome, and we see that his friends are still with him. Do you have friends who can be there with you in your downtime like Paul? Friends who can encourage you and be there for you? Do you have friends like that? Number 2. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel chapter 1 verses 1 to 18 says, In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord delivered Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hands, along with some of the articles from the temple of God. These he carried off to the temple of his God in Babylonia and put in the treasure house of his God. Then the king ordered Ashpenaz, chief of his court officials, to bring into the king's service some of the Israelites from the royal family and the nobility, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. He was to teach them the language and the literature of the Babylonians. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine from the king's table. They were to be trained for 3 years, and after that, they were to enter the king's service. Among those who were chosen were some from Judah: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The chief official gave them new names. To Daniel, the name Belteshazzar; to Hananiah, Shadrach; to Mishael, Meshach; and to Azariah, Abednego. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. Now God had caused the official to show favor and compassion to Daniel, but the official told Daniel, "I am afraid of my lord the king, who has assigned your food and drink. Now why should he see you looking worse than the other young men your age? The king would have my head because of you." Daniel then said to the guard whom the chief official had appointed over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, "Please test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the young men who eat the royal food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see." So he agreed to do this and tested them for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. So the guard took away their choice food and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables instead. To these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning, and Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. From this story, we see that Daniel was the one who made up his mind not to defile himself, but he had good friends who also joined him. What if they discouraged him? What if they made fun of him? Do you have friends who are able to stand by your good decisions like Daniel? Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Now that we have seen some good examples, let's examine some bad examples in the Bible. Number 1. King Rehoboam's bad friends. 1 Kings chapter 12 verse 1 to 19 says, Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had gone there to make him king. When Jeroboam son of Nebat heard this, he was still in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon. He returned from Egypt, so they sent for Jeroboam, and he and the whole assembly of Israel went to Rehoboam and said to him, "Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but now lighten the harsh labor and the heavy yoke he put on us, and we will serve you." Rehoboam answered, "Go away for 3 days and then come back to me." So the people went away. Then King Rehoboam consulted the elders who had served his father Solomon during his lifetime. "How would you advise me to answer these people?" he asked. They replied, "If today you will be a servant to these people and serve them and give them a favorable answer, they will always be your servants." But Rehoboam rejected the advice the elders gave him and consulted the young men who had grown up with him and were serving him. He asked them, "What is your advice? How should we answer these people who say to me, 'Lighten the yoke your father put on us'?" The young men who had grown up with him replied, "These people have said to you, 'Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but make our yoke lighter.' Now tell them, 'My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. My father laid on you a heavy yoke. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions." 3 days later, Jeroboam and all the people returned to Rehoboam, as the king had said. "Come back to me in 3 days." 3 days later, Jeroboam and all the people returned to Rehoboam, as the king had said, "Come back to me in 3 days." The king answered the people harshly, rejecting the advice given him by the elders. He followed the advice of the young men and said, "My father made your yoke heavy. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions." So the king did not listen to the people, for this turn of events was from the Lord to fulfill the word the Lord had spoken to Jeroboam son of Nebat through Abijah the Shilonite. When all Israel saw that the king refused to listen to them, they answered the king, "What share do we have in David? What part in Jesse's son? To your tents, Israel. Look after your own house, David." So the Israelites went home. But as for the Israelites who were living in the towns of Judah, Rehoboam still ruled over them. King Rehoboam sent out Adoniram, who was in charge of forced labor, but all Israel stoned him to death. King Rehoboam, however, managed to get into his chariot and escape to Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. Because Rehoboam, the son of King Solomon and grandson of David, whom David loved dearly, had foolish friends, he divided the kingdom. Out of 12 tribes of Israel, he got to rule just 2. Foolish friends can make you lose even what should have been rightfully yours. Do you have friends that made you lose because of their bad advice? Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Number 2. Jonadab. 2 Samuel chapter 13 verses 1 to 19 says, "In the course of time, Amnon, son of David, fell in love with Tamar, the beautiful sister of Absalom, son of David. Amnon became so obsessed with his sister Tamar that he made himself ill. She was a virgin, and it seemed impossible for him to do anything to her. Now Amnon had an advisor named Jonadab, son of Shimeah, David's brother. Jonadab was a very shrewd man. He asked Amnon, 'Why do you, the king's son, look so haggard morning after morning? Won't you tell me?' Amnon said to him, 'I'm in love with Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister.' 'Go to bed and pretend to be ill,' Jonadab said. 'When your father comes to see you, say to him, I would like my sister Tamar to come and give me something to eat. Let her prepare the food in my sight so I may watch her and then eat it from her hand.' So Amnon lay down and pretended to be ill. When the king came to see him, Amnon said to him, 'I would like my sister Tamar to come make some special bread in my sight so I may eat from her hand.' David sent word to Tamar at the palace, 'Go to the house of your brother Amnon and prepare some food for him.' So Tamar went to the house of her brother Amnon, who was lying down. She took some dough, kneaded it, made bread in his sight and baked it. And she took the pan and served him the bread, but he refused to eat. 'Send everyone out of here,' Amnon said. So everyone left him. Then Amnon said to Tamar, 'Bring the food here into my bedroom so I may eat from your hand.' And Tamar took the bread she had prepared and brought it to her brother Amnon in the bedroom. But when she took it to him to eat, he grabbed her and said, 'Come to bed with me, my sister.' 'No, my brother,' she said to him, 'don't force me. Such a thing should not be done in Israel. Don't do this wicked thing. What about me? Where could I get rid of my disgrace? And what about you? You would be like one of the wicked fools in Israel. Please speak to the king. He will not keep me from being married to you.' But he refused to listen to her, and since he was stronger than she, he raped her. Then Amnon hated her with intense hatred. In fact, he hated her more than he had loved her. Amnon said to her, 'Get up and get out.' 'No,' she said to him, 'sending me away would be a greater wrong than what you have already done to me.' But he refused to listen to her. He called his personal servant and said, 'Get this woman out of my sight and bolt the door after her.' So his servant put her out and bolted the door after her. She was wearing an ornate robe, for this was the kind of garment the virgin daughters of the king wore. Tamar put ashes on her head and tore the ornate robe she was wearing. She put her hands on her head and went away, weeping as loud as she went. Because of this bad advice, Amnon was killed by Absalom, Tamar's brother. Bad friends can bring you to utter ruin. Do you have friends that are making you walk a path that can destroy you for good? Some people may ask, how sure are you that my friends are bad? Well, if you know you can be disciplined and you have the drive to succeed, then the next thing to examine is your friends. If the only reason you're still where you are is because some of your friends do not think your dreams are good enough, then your issue might be that of friendship. They might be the ones holding you down from succeeding. Here are examples of people we need to get away from if we want this year to be great for us. Number 1, boastful people. These are the ones that are filled with so much pride. They don't think anyone is better than them. These people are never good friends because they're self-absorbed. They always want to be in the limelight. There are 2 things that can come out from being friends with a boastful person. 1, since they're generally people who will not acknowledge anyone but themselves, you will try so hard to get their approval. You might be a million times better than they are, but since you'll be looking for their approval, you never know. Or 2, you can be so intimidated by them and you shrink. You can become so invaluable even to yourself. Of course, these 2 scenarios show low self-esteem, but the second one is way worse than the first. Nothing good comes from being friends with one who boasts. You may dabble into lying and stealing just to please them. Jeremiah chapter 9 verses 23 to 24 says, "Thus says the Lord, let not the one who is wise and skillful boast in his insight. Let not the one who is mighty and powerful boast in his strength. Let not the one who is rich boast in his temporal satisfaction and earthly abundance. But let the one who boasts boast in this, that he understands and knows me and acknowledges me and honors me as God and recognizes without any doubt that I am the Lord who practices loving kindness, justice, and righteousness on the earth. For in these things I delight, says the Lord." Any boast that is not in the Lord is sin, and God will not want us to be friends with people who disobey His commands. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Number 2. Liars. A liar is a dishonest person. You shouldn't put up with anyone with this attribute. In all honesty, you should fear people who lie and tremble at the ones who are great at it. Lying is an evil skill. These people have the ability to make you believe something that is unreal. They can literally turn you to their puppets by creating a whole new world for you, either good or bad. These people should be avoided at all costs because nothing good can come from being friends with them, aside from the fact that lying is so easy to learn and you will quickly learn to be like them. Lying ruins your reputation, and it is same for the friend of a liar. As they say, birds of the same feather flock together. Even if you don't lie yet, you will still be viewed as a liar. And you can never really trust this person because for all you know, they're never saying the truth. These people can easily plot against you and you will never know. You don't know if they truly support you or they don't. There's a lot of unknowns with being friends with a liar. You deserve much more. John chapter 8 verses 44 says, "You are of your father the devil, and it is your will to practice the desires which are characteristic of your father." He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks what is natural to him, for he is a liar and the father of lies and half-truths. It is also important to know that all liars are children of the devil. Number 3. Foolish people. A foolish person lacks sense and good judgment. If you want to avoid anyone this year, let it be foolish people. Foolish people are the ones who have no information or understanding. Never ever take a fool as a friend. Proverbs 13 verses 20 says, "He who walks as a companion with wise men will be wise, but the companions of conceited, dull-witted fools are fools themselves and will experience harm." How do you want to achieve anything when your friends don't know anything? A quote once said, "If you're friends with 5 fools, you will be the 6th." You're an average of everyone you connect with. Number 4. Gossips. People only view gossiping as wrong when wrong information is passed. But a gossip is actually defined as a person who habitually reveals personal or sensational facts about others. This information can be true or not. Not everybody's information should be shared even if you hear it. A lot of people gossip so much that the entire town gets their news from them. Gossips have bad reputation, and so do their friends. Gossiping is also a sin against God. Matthew 12 verses 36 says, "But I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give an accounting for every careless or useless word they speak." Gossiping can destroy the lives and careers of other people. And when you engage in gossip, remember that you're sowing a seed and you will always reap what you sow. Ephesians chapter 4 verses 29 says, "Do not let unwholesome, foul, profane, worthless, vulgar words ever come out from your mouth, but only such speech as is good for building up others according to the need and the occasion, so that it will be a blessing to those who hear you speak." If we truly want great friends this year so that we can have a great year, we have to be very intentional about choosing them. Proverbs chapter 18 verses 24 says, "The man of too many friends chosen indiscriminately will be broken in pieces and come to ruin. But there's a true loving friend who is reliable and sticks closer than a brother." I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and also share this video with someone. You never know who this might bless. Also subscribe to this channel to see more videos like this and let us know how you feel in the comments below. Thank you and God bless you.